Hello, welcome to another edition of Chris Speaks. I'm your host, Chris Thompson. So, what's on the agenda here today? Okay, so it's been a while since I did another video, like several weeks or whatever. So, what's been going on since then? Let's see. The big ugly, the big nasty, the big shitty bill, whatever the fuck you want to call it, passed, which is going to take lots of people off of uh, Medicaid, which kind of affects me in a way which I might explain later on. I'm on Medicare, but Medicaid pays for my um, Medicare premium because I'm poor. So okay, so that'll affect me. Okay, also in the news, let's see, they've been doing these crappy raids to the point where someone got killed. The they the ICE agents weren't like like responsible in the fact of that they didn't beat him to death or anything, but they caused panic, and some guy ran on the roof of this greenhouse when this was during a raid on a farm, and it's a legal cannabis farm, not a pot farm, marijuana farm, weed farm, whatever they want to call it, to try to make it seem like they were doing something wrong. This is a legal farm for California, which has legal marijuana. So, or pot or cannabis is the better term for it, because then it doesn't have the negative connotations. So that happened, and because of that, a judge did a temporary restraining order on them, and I'll come back to that in a little bit. And then this is ridiculous: is that Trump is he can't stand anybody criticizing him, saying that he wants to strip Rosie O'Donnell of her citizenship. Rosie O'Donnell is a natural born citizen. He legally can't do that. Second of all, really? Your feelings get hurt, so you're gonna try to do political shit like that? Like, that's bullshit. Oh, and the big one is, and this is probably the one I'll start with. Okay, so in Palestine and Gaza, so there's this organization that was created by Trump and in Israel to supposedly distribute the aid, and they're called, like, what are they called? I don't know. They're like uh, I forgot what they're called, but there's some. Oh, um, it's like the Gaza humanitarian something or whatever. But anyways, you might want to look it up. I can't think of the name of the organization right now, but basically they hire mercenaries to, I shouldn't have done that, mercenaries to distribute food. So what they're doing is they're basically using food as bait to gun down Palestinian people, hungry Palestinian people that are trying to get food. And if there's 1 second of they tell them to go away, and 1 second they kill them, they're just gunning them down. They're literally gunning them down. There's video footage. There's people that worked for them that had to come clean because it was terrible what was going on there. They're slaughtering them. America is literally helping slaughter them. And you could say, oh, well, they're not part of the government. Well, the organization they're working for is supposedly connected to the U.S. government. So they're just slaughtering them like they've been doing for fucking 80 years. And people don't know what they're talking about most of the time. They're acting as if, I don't know. They're just acting as if, like, they people don't know anything about the history, and so they're like they think that the European Jews that are there have anything to do with the Hebrews or the Israelites of the Bible, which they have nothing in common with them. They just stole the name, and so they're a European colony. The majority of them are from Europe and the United States, mostly New York City, and especially the people who are the settlers and stuff. So it's they don't belong there. They're stealing land that's not there, and don't believe all the pro-Israel lies. Okay, so well, I'm going to go on from there. So let's get into the I'm going to go straight into the ICE raids, what they're doing is immoral and illegal and wrong, and you just can't attack people in saying you're arresting them. I've seen people cooperate and they're still beating the shit out of them. Or they'll beat the shit out of people for asking them to identify themselves. And so, why is it, if the FBI did this or the regular police did this, well, they do on occasion, but they'll cover their story. If anybody did this, other than them, they'd be in trouble for it. But apparently, like, ICE doesn't have to follow the law, and they're allowed to just go out there and harass anybody who looks Hispanic or anybody with brown skin. You don't hear about a bunch of Europeans who overstayed their visas being snatched up, do you? No, no. That's the whole thing. Are they going after anybody but brown skin people? And the answer is no. Are Hispanic people the only illegal immigrants? No, no, not by far. I mean, they might be the majority, but they're not the only ones. But that's the whole thing. They're not. They're going after brown skinned people, and they'll go after black and brown skinned people, but they're not going after any white people. They're not. They're not. Why would they? Because Trump's a racist asshole, and so is that this terrorist organization that they call ICE. They go out there, they terrorize people to the point that somebody does something dangerous and gets killed. And they're like, well, ICE didn't really do it. Well, they fucking caused the situation in which it happened, and it's going to get worse. And you think these little things that you consider attacks on ICE that didn't do shit, if you think those are a problem now, see how fucking bad it gets as long as this keeps going. They're going to go into the wrong neighborhood and fuck with the wrong people, and some fucking hardened gangsters are gonna fucking shoot their asses. And sure, we shouldn't. I wouldn't want them to do that. That'd be wrong. That's not how you handle stuff. But I wouldn't shed a tear either. What they're doing is wrong. You don't treat human beings like that. And they're only doing it because these dumbasses who voted for Trump believe that Hispanic people are simultaneously on welfare and stealing your jobs at the same time, which is actually impossible. And sorry, I was looking at the time. It's just ridiculous. This is a fucking racist thing. This is a thing to distract from actual issues, to get the focus off of Trump and all of his bullshit. I mean, this is what happens when a convicted felon is allowed to run for president again. A convicted felon who is convicted of a bunch of fraud. So you're going to let a guy who's guilty of fraud become president when you won't even let convicted felons normally vote. So this is the issue. This is a bunch of crap. This is a bunch of crap, and it's not doing anything good for this country. I mean, the only good thing is it's going to take billions of dollars to get rid of all the people that Trump wants to get rid of, and then all those people are responsible for labor and different things that are needed. Basically, this asshole's gonna, with this and with the stupid tariffs that he doesn't know what he's doing, he's gonna collapse the economy. And I think they're doing it on purpose. I think they're doing it. All these things they're doing that are like tearing apart the checks and balances by having a bunch of Supreme Court justices that are more loyal to Trump than they are the Constitution. These people, the Supreme Court continues to give the executive branch more and more power than it was ever expected, it was ever meant to have. The whole point of the three branches of the government was to act as checks and balances on each other, so that not one of those branches could get any more power than the other. But it's being used as the opposite. These assholes are going to be the end of our country. And people that are cheering it on, wait till they come for you, because they're already toying with the idea of even trying to strip natural born citizens whose families have been over here for generations and generations of their citizenship, to shut them up and take away their First Amendment rights. And they have a concentration camp that in the Florida Everglades, where they're feeding people maggots and worms in their fucking food. And, and people are going to die in there, and they've been denying the federal government access to it. But now they're going to let them go after they've had a few days to make everything look like it better than the conditions actually are. So what's going on is not good. None of this is good for our country. It is actually the opposite. Know who it's good for? It's good for a radical, Trump loyal Republican Party. It's good for them to dismantle our government so they can create a fucking right wing hellhole. And, like, dude, if you cannot see the parallels between this and 1933 Germany, then you're obviously not paying attention, or you're too brainwashed to realize it. I mean, you got to remember, Hitler went after the first people he went after were immigrants. First thing he did the same thing. Hitler also used tariffs and a lot of other things. Started sending special police after special federal police after the Jews. And then, I mean, and after anybody who they thought was a threat or was not useful to their country, would not make their country better, wouldn't be that's the shit they're using, the lines they're using. I keep looking at the time. I'm gonna try to make this short because I got a movie to go to, and so, like, just short to make things short. This is not good. What's going on is not good. It's dangerous, and the people that are cheering it on aren't going to be cheering it on when the government comes for them. Okay, so then I'm going to get into this bill a little bit. So there's this big ugly bill. What it does is it fucking gives a blank check to the military for spending as much as they want to spend, which is about enough that they would need to mobilize the military into the major cities, at least the major democratic cities in the country. I mean, you don't, if this is what's going on, and this bill helps create this police state. And this country was not meant to be a police state. It was meant to be the complete opposite. And what it does do is it does that, and it does that, and it gives a permanent tax cuts to the rich, and it does some half-ass shit like give people no tax on tips until Trump's no longer president, and then it goes back, because it wasn't meant to be anything but to try to make them look good when they're doing bad shit. And the worst thing is the cuts to Medicaid, and me and my girlfriend barely make it as is. We don't make it. We barely make it. Sometimes we have to ask for money from family, but we barely make it, and we're both on Medicare. And you're like, well, that's Medicare, not Medicaid. Yes, well, we're on a Medicare savings program where the state uses Medicaid to pay for our Medicare premiums. And if we don't have that, I really don't know how we're going to survive. And they're punishing the poor, and they're basically freaking rewarding the rich for exploiting the poor and working class. So this is not America first. This is not being patriotic. This is being fascist. All of this shit that they're doing is fascism. And if you don't believe that, then you need to do some reading of some history. All right, well, I've got to get going. So I'm your host, Chris Thompson, and this has been another edition of Chris Speaks. I'll talk to you guys later.